Bold talks, women share to be bold and take risks. Bold talks, women say what they feel and mean what they say. Yeah. Bold talks, believe in your power, so much power. Yeah. Bold talks where women share, women share.
Hey, everybody. Happy Saturday to all of you guys. And we are live and in charge. It's indeed another episode of Vault Talks Women Share. Ladies, how y'all doing this morning?
Doing good.
I'm doing great.
Don't speak all at once, yeah?
We up, so
Funny.
we doing good.
Right. Indeed. So if you guys are just tuning in for the first time or watching us live for the first time, we thank you guys so much for your time, your energy, your participation. And we're really excited about this week's topic as it's one that is needed for sure on both levels, meaning what Liz is getting ready to share here in a few, and even the ladies who are coming aboard a little later in the show to be able to talk about, that work-life balance, meaning homeschooling is now considered a task, a job for many women that wasn't originally on their plate. And so now working from home, homeschooling their kids due to what's going on in the world. So we really wanted to bring some people in who are deemed experts in their world. Why? They're teachers and they're mommies. So they're able to bring some wisdom to the platform to be able to share with all of you guys. And I say all of you guys because I'm not a mama. So all of you guys that are moms to be able to help you create that balance for what's going on in our world today. So with that being said, and hold on, Liz gonna be coming up a little bit later. She's gonna be talking about debunking debt. So really excited for her segment because we already know she's gonna drop the gems. So again, those of you who are new, thank you. Thank you. Those of you who are returning, we thank you too. So Vault Talks Women Share is a platform full of empowerment. It's on this platform where women can come together to learn more and share about matters which pertain to their world. So it's indeed on this platform that we'll talk about love, relationships, entrepreneurship, fashion, and of course, ways to be empowered as women. So later on, our guests are going to be Nyesha Sevier, who is an experienced teacher. I've been knowing this chick for years. And so also Tiffany Wilson. She has over 24 years of experience teaching. So really excited to be able to bring these women to the platform. But now, hush all over the world because it's quote time. Go ahead, Issa. Let's do this thing. So if y'all don't know, now you know. When we were a radio show, we would kick off the show with a quote. Now we have yours truly, Isha, coming with us every week with a quote that she creates herself. So this is the quote for the week. Y'all ready? I don't think y'all ready. There we go.
All right. So today's quote was inspired by Mother's Day. Tomorrow is Mother's Day. And I wanted to talk a little bit about motherhood. I know Mother's Day is a time where we celebrate mothers, and which we should because we do a lot and we go through a lot to raise our children, right? So we use that term raise a lot. So it made me think. So today's quote is the word raise means to lift up or put something at a higher level or position. As parents, are we really raising our children?
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
You went forward.
So by that, yeah. So just, uplifting them, encouraging them. We get so busy with the day to day and this and that. And it's just like, do we really pause and take time to, step into their world a little bit and see what they have going on and encourage them to um, look more into their gifts and talents and things that they're interested in. I think that's something that we really need to kind of pay more attention to. So if one of you ladies want to jump in on the quote,
Yes,
let
I'm
us know what you
actually
think
gonna
about it.
touch on that. Yeah, I think that parents, I mean, from my experience growing up, I think my mother did the best that she could with what she had available. And there's no guidebook to raising kids. There's no guidebook to like teach them what's, other than the basics of what's right and what's wrong. Or don't touch that, that's too hot, or what's good for you, or anything like that. And you're just kind of learning with emotion on that end. Um, Raising up and uplifting, I think that there's different styles, there's different techniques, because what you may consider, or Takara, what you may consider to be, uh, you know, a higher level, or a position, or what's good on one way is not good for the other way. Some people don't know how to, they're not lovey dovey, I should say. They don't embrace, they don't hug. That's just not their love language. They
Right.
don't communicate that way. And it's different for every child. Just because one child loves to be hugged and tickled does not mean the next one wants to be dealt with the same way. And it's a very fine line. And, there's no, unfortunate. You don't want to do one for one person, because one person's going to think, oh, I'm spoiled, or you're spoiled now, or anything like that. But are we really lifting them up? I'm not too well. Some kids, I think that they are, based on my experience. I mean, the youngest of three, I'm the only girl in my family. I was told that I was spoiled all the time. And honestly, when I'm as an adult, I'm like, I am nowhere near spoiled in comparison to my brother. Okay. But that's just that's my viewpoint. Now their viewpoint on me, I was like, man, I'm always looking out for them. And and like, if my mom gives me something, or she says, let's go out to eat, then everybody eat. I mean, that's just my
Right.
philosophy on that. But I think parents are shortchanged a lot. And we don't really see the struggle and what they really go through in order to even put food on the table. Because I know my mom she's my ride or die. Okay. She's always been, we get into our tick and tacks. We always bump heads. And, two alpha females come together in the same room. You're going to bump heads. But what I've realized is that she has gone above and beyond to make sure that, her kids are safe. They're provided for. That was her main concern. So raising in her terms were making sure there was food on the table there was always a roof over our heads. There was always food in our bellies. That we were we were good. We were covered. Whereas, other kids, not so much the same thing, not the same token. And then if my mom couldn't do, I went to the next best thing, and I went to grandma.
That's good. That's real good. So before I officially jump in, I have to do this. Happy birthday, Mom. Today's my mom's 60th birthday.
Aww.
And so I love you
birthday.
so much. Yes, I know she's going to be watching this at some point in time, because she kept asking me, what time you show? What time you show? What time you show? And so she's really excited about this new year, 60. She don't look nowhere near it. Nowhere. She looks like she could be my sister, literally. So happy birthday, Mommy. I love you. And so with that being said, for me, what I had to learn was that, and I share this pretty often nowadays. My mom did what she had to do, and so she did, like you said, Liz. She did what she had to do according to the examples that were in her life, and so overall, my mom did a heck of a job. Just raising me alone. My daddy not being present. She had the support of her mom, her dad, her brother with raising me, and so I would say that she did a pretty good job, and she did the best that she knew how with what she had, for sure. And I know for a fact, you know, growing up, I had a babysitter, and I learned so much from their family about family values in reference to, you know, sitting at the table every night at 5:30 watching TV. But, you know, how was your day? You know, every day, you know, dinner was at that time. And I'd be like, oh, can I stay for dinner? And they would let me stay a lot of times. But I got some of the love and the nurturing from them too. So I was surrounded by the love. And even my babysitter's husband, it wasn't until he died that I realized how much of a father figure he was, because we would ride our bikes around the block and like he would be like 25 feet behind us. And we're like, why can't we just go to the store, you know, by ourselves on our bikes? And, you know, why can't we just go around the corner? But he was just that protective figure who loved us so much that, you know, he wanted to make sure that we were good. And so, you know, sometimes we don't realize what moms go through until later on in life. And so, you know, now I'm thankful, you know, my mom really made sure that I had everything that I wanted as a kid. I mean, just not from my, you know, extracurricular activities when I said I wanted to do this, except for track and basketball. Mom, you wouldn't let me do that because she was scared. Yeah, she was scared because I had asthma. But I was really good at track. You know, I set records. Well, you know, like, you know, you run the 50-meter run or whatever, the 50-meter dash, blah, blah. I set records at my school. And I'm like, Mom, why I can't do track? And she was freaking out. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. But what I will say is that, you know, when I said, hey, I want to do this, or, you know, I want to play the clarinet, she supported it. Hey, I want to be on the pom squad, she supported it. So, hey, I want to dance, she supported it. You know, so, you know, just that support taught me a whole lot about how to support others. So there's little things that we learn from our moms that we really don't realize. And so when I talk about mother figures, I can't leave out my grandma. Hey, boo, I know you're watching too. And so one of the things that I learned from my grandma was, you know, when I go out the house, I can't be wrinkled. And oh my God, that sticks in my head. No matter if I'm just going to the store, no matter if I'm going to the grocery store or going to the gas station to get some dill pickles, sunflower seeds, or, you know, Slurpee, whatever. I overlook myself because it's like that rings in my head. You know, when you leave this house, you represent me. Oh man, you know, so even at 8:38, that's still like booming in my head. So, you know, little things like that really do help you and mature you as a woman for sure. So, Isha, we want to hear what you have to say about this visionary.
Well, yeah, I was just in the mind of, now I know you guys talk about, you know, how how you were raised, and our parents. And I know, Takara, you don't have any kids. And, you know, Liz, you have a little one, so you just get started in this. But my son is a little bit older, so, you know, I've had that experience to where he comes to me and, you know, something's wrong, or, you know, if it's like self-esteem issues, or if he's interested in something, it's just like being that, you know, safe haven for him to come to, or your child to come to and talk and have the opportunity to uplift. Because I know a lot of parents kind of, well, some, I'm not going to say a lot, some will probably brush their kids off, you know, their emotions, their feelings, because they just don't know how to deal with them. You know, oh, you'll be all right, you'll be fine, you know, that type of thing. And just kind of really take the time out to really talk to them and help them understand what it is that they are going through, because we've all been there before. So, like you said, your mom supported you with playing the clarinet. Mine's the same. I was in the orchestra, so I played the viola, like anything, you know, and I didn't really know too much about it. I'm in 5th grade, so I was like, okay, that looks interesting. And I'll be able to get out of class for a little bit. So let me try this, you know.
Shame on you.
She's telling facts right now.
Right. It's the truth. But yeah, she supported that. So, you know, anything, like he's into Fortnite and I don't care nothing about it. But, you know, when he talking about it, I listen. And I'm like, oh, okay,
right?
Yeah. Don't know nothing about it. But just kind of, you know, being there for them, because what's going on in their world is important to them. It may not mean much to us, but just, you know, just being that support in that ear, and just be more mindful of that, especially with them being at home more now. You know, we're having more conversations, and it's more of an opportunity to brush them off and just like, oh, go sit down, go play, go do this and that. And it's just like, no, really get into it and see what they're doing, what they're up to, what they're interested in, You may even learn something from your kids. You never know.
And you know what? I will say that's interesting because I'm a godmom, so I'll have to say that part. And kids call me auntie all day long. So, and I think she's tuning in. Tanisha Ramsey Lane, hey girl. So her kids, it's so funny. Now we have not met in person yet, but when we video chat or when we're on the phone, they're like TT, and it's so cool. And so I'm learning stuff from them, like this whole TikTok game. Oh my God.
Good luck, bro. I don't know.
I have a TikTok account. Am I active yet? No, because I'm trying to figure out like which angle do I want to come from. Do I want to come from the positive angle though? The identity coach and dropping nuggets, or do I want to, do some, challenges? I'm like, oh my God, or do I want to do it all? But I just got to learn the technical pieces. It's so technical. Like it's so cool. Like some of the lives that I watch from people and just their videos, it's so neat. And even to see the celebrities doing things at home with their families now that they're quarantined, like Wayne Brady is a funny
that was hilarious. I was just about to say that. I was like, did y'all see that?
I love because he has a blended family and he's very big on talking about it, and then just what they do together, it is so cool to watch. And so like Gabrielle Union's a fun one to watch. Kevin Hart is always hilarious to watch. A lot of times his kids don't even want nothing to do with TikTok. And he's like, I want to do a TikTok. Anybody want to do it? So just technical stuff, it's really important that we can learn from each other. Like, I love that. And so it's, just be able to, embrace that and have the patience, patience with them because, they're not adults. They talk in their own language, and they text Lord Jesus in their own language, so being able to just be patient with, what they want to share and, continuously letting them know that what they have to share is value and creating that open line of communication, because being a kid in this day and age is way different than what
back then.
Way different. We played jacks, at least I played. Maybe I'm telling my age. I played with jacks. Like I love jacks,
Red light, green light.
Red light, green light. We used to play Ghost in the Graveyard, which I used to love. We could get dark at night and all that, catching what do you call those things? I don't catching lightning bugs, and then you're mad that they did the next day, but you did all that effort to catch them because they're so cool. Stuff like that. Red Rover. I go on and on. Silver Bacon, one of my favorites. Kickball,
Release tag.
I was a beast at kickball. You thought I was doing something. My mom bought me some Reebok pumps for school one year, and every time it was time for me to get ready to kick the ball, I was like, hold on. Like I just did something extra to make the ball go way far. No, all in my head.
Yeah, we was definitely outside way more than the kids are now. So I'm playing more video games than I ever have. Oh, he don't like when I beat him at Mortal Kombat. So
hold on, I want this on the screen. Ghost in the Graveyard. Gotta try that one of these days. Thanks, Sean. And yes, you do. It's so much fun. It's so fun.
Yes. Sean, no, he's definitely gonna do it up.
Yeah, especially when you're trying to figure out where Ghoul is, and you got we used to do it. Let me give you some hints, Sean, real quick. So we used to dress in all black when we would do it because it's already dark. Right, you blending in. People hiding in trees. They hiding on people's porches, on their back porches, underneath cars. Man, we used to do it all. So, Sean,
another 2 cents I want to add off of that. Go ahead.
Well, no, go ahead. What were you saying?
Another 2 cents I want to add on to that was just like, it really does take a village. Your village is your motherhood. I remember growing up in Chicago on the block, and everybody who was on the block was my mama. Meaning there was no getting away from anything or anybody. Everybody was watching you.
Yeah.
It got even worse when I moved to Haiti. It's the same thing. I could be over there on Delma 65, go over to Delma 19 where the movie theaters used to be at, and my grandmother be like, "Where were you today?"
Ooh.
Like, Went to the school and I went took a top to do this, that, and the third. And she'd be like, see, this person and this person and that person told me you were. I was like, ooh, I could never get away with anything. So you never know. But family is definitely mothers beyond are just, it really does take a village because, at the end of the day, you're pushing out there and you're saying, you know, they have the right. And I love what I want this to come back into the generations where you have the Black who are pretty much anything that your mama does to you.
Yeah.
Your neighbors can do to you as well. Okay. They can discipline you in the same retrospect. And no one has any type of animosity. Oh, why you touch my child? No, everyone has an agreement. Everybody's together. If you see my baby acting out, you need to, reprimand them or, discipline them in whatever way that you can.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that's what I'm talking about. I'm loving these comments. Keep them coming. That's how it used to be for me in church every Sunday. I got my butt whooped.
Yep.
Look, it was that alliance, man. Yeah, and you're right. Like, don't think that you're gonna go down the street and not, what were you doing? You'd be like, dang, where were you at? You hiding stuff, but and unfortunately now it's, so many people, they don't want to talk about what they're seeing. And it's such a shift. I mean, man, I got in trouble a lot when it came to, well, where were you? Like that. At such and such house. Well, what time did you leave their house? Such and such. Nope. That's not. You'd be like, dang, yo, what y'all got?
Eyes everywhere.
Eyes everywhere. And they would tell you that. Now you know I got eyes everywhere. And you're like, whatever.
I never believe it. You think these cameras are something to mess with?
Back in the day, you gotta keep your kids close these days, though. Like it's not how it used to be.
No,
it's not how it used to be at all.
That's true.
That is true. And so I love that. We're gonna switch the topic. And I know she ready to come with these nuggets. Liz, where you at, girl? Debunking debt. Whoop whoop. We in the let's do it.
Let me tell you. So I'm going through a process of this is the perfect timing to actually get rid or debunk any of the debt that you're actually on. Okay. If you have money saved up, why not call them in, say, look, this is what I have for you, pay it off, whether you want to keep it off completely or you want to keep those cards or you want to keep those accounts open. There's simpler ways of how to go about it. Okay. The one thing that I recommend for sure, if you do not have an emergency fund right now, you need to have one. Okay. $1,000 tucked away for, during this crisis actually would have came in handy, whether it been for groceries, whether it been for, paying an extra bill or paying pretty much any bill by this point at this moment. So you really want to stay in tune and, make sure that you're doing the due diligence on your end as far as when it comes to your finances. Okay. One thing I'm going to say is quit borrowing money. Okay. That means including your credit cards. Okay. So if you're right now in a place where, you know what, I can't afford anything because we're not working, and a lot of people, did you hear that over 30 billion people got fired from this coronavirus that we're going through right now? That is a lot of people. Okay. And we're all trying to figure out like, well, what's next? How are we going to go back into the workforce and now be able to, provide for our families? So quit borrowing money. Like that is not the way to go. Okay. Second thing up is that you must save some money. So that means, even with these stimulus checks coming in, make sure that you put some of that to the side. So pay yourself first. Okay. And then pay off some bills if that's where the money is actually going to go towards. So you definitely want to consider that. And, I think that prayer really works through this whole situation, whether you're, whether it's godly, religious, whatever the case may be, or you're not into that, pray a little something to whomever it is that you pray to, because at the end of the day, you really want to just find something else to tap into. Okay. So do it often. Yeah, that's right, Bella. You want to do save early and do it often. Okay. Um, so if you're like strapped and you're like, well, what can I do in order to like pay a bill? Or let's say example, you know, cutting off TV is something that you can do. Spend more time with yourself. We're right now talking about raising our kids. How are we raising the kids? Are we stuck to the TV? Okay. If we are, maybe we need to come up with different ways of how to play in the house, or really start engaging our minds, get creative on that end. So maybe getting rid of the TV is something that, you know, a lot of people think like, I don't want to do that. I gotta have my TV. But definitely you want to check to see like what are some of the things or some of the services that you have on your TV, or what's reoccurring, auto pay, or the subscribers that you're actually attached to. Maybe some of those things are something that we can actually eliminate at this moment, okay? Because we're not utilizing them that well, or it's just overdoing it. It's either you're not using it or we're overdoing it. Another thing is that you can look around your house and you say, what am I not using? Okay, sell it. Sell something, anything. I'm sure in households today, there's maybe 70% of things that, or 30% of things that we don't actually utilize anymore. It's been over 6 months that we even touched it or even remembered that we had it. Okay. So what you want to do is, go around the house. What's that? I don't know if anybody's watched that show. It's some tidy up show, where she asks you to, think you're like, it's a folding where you fold your clothes and things of that nature. I can't remember her name. It's a Chinese name, and I don't want to butcher her name. Okay. But she's pretty much saying, thank you. If it's something that you want to keep, does this spark joy in my life? Okay. So go around the house and see if there's anything that you can possibly, say, oh, well, does this spark joy? Do I need this? And if you don't, get rid of it. Okay. Sell it. That's the nice thing about it. Let Go is a service you can use. There's so many other little apps out here that you can actually get onto, or just do it off Craigslist. Okay. Or eBay. So you have so many options that you can work with on that end. And then, not last but not least, was just get to work. Just do the work. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're actually getting in there and you're, actually looking for the things that you need or doing what you need to do and just get it done. Okay. I actually gained this information off of Dave Ramsey's book, where he goes into more detail on his website, where it's called Debt Snowball. Okay. So what it means is that you really want to list all of your debts from the smallest to largest and just start to pay them off. Start paying off the minimums. Okay. What that does now is it creates this avalanche or snowball effect where, the snow rolls down the hill and it picks up more snow as it goes down, creating that avalanche. That's exactly what you want to do with your credit card debt. So thank you, Cindy. Yes, tidying up with Marie Kondo was that analogy on that end. But you want to go ahead and start paying it off. So all the minimum, whatever the minimum is that you owe on these credit cards or bank accounts or statements or anything like that, pay off all of the minimum payments on that end. And then what that allows you to do is that once you've paid off one, now whatever you were paying with that one that's now completely clear and free, you bring that minimum and you add it to the next one. So you're constantly just doing that all the way into effect until you get everything paid off. Now, don't think that it's going to take weeks. This is not something that's going to fly by and change your life overnight. This is something that requires work. Okay. So if you're able to pay it off, if it's like $100 and you have that 100 paid off, that's just one less bill you have to look at. Okay. And really celebrate those small victories. Like, oh, I was able to get rid of that. Announce it if you want to announce it, or, make yourself some pie. Okay. Or yourself to something, like, I don't know if I should do this. nothing outside of you. Again, do not, don't what you call it, don't keep, don't rack up more debt on that end, okay? So yeah, that's pretty much it for you. That's what I wanted to go over. And we make sure that you get it done. That's all you got to do is just get it done. Any tidbits from you ladies?
Ooh, this is a good one here. Mindset management matters.
Yeah.
That's powerful for sure. And I can be very transparent. I didn't know all this stuff, and I went through Dave Ramsey's class years ago, and the stuff really works. It's just about like Tanisha is saying, that mindset, applying that, and then understanding that how we want it to happen. It's not going to happen instantly, like you said, but the more and more we put the energy into it, and we're getting a reaction, that we're going to, continue to do the work on that. But I was reminded of when I first went off to college. No one has that talk with you. Hey, when you're in a textbook store and they're putting all your books in this bag and you see all these credit card offers, don't sign up for them. So it's just, no one tells you that talk. They say, go be great at school. No one says, hey, look out for this. So I say that to say, just being mindful of, how we can prepare, like you were talking about earlier, Ish, just raising our children, and not just those children that are, your birth children, those that are, maybe you serve as a mentor, maybe you serve as a role model. So having these conversations early now to help them understand, hey, a plastic card comes with a responsibility. It's not just you go get those Jordans and you cool, you got to pay that off. And so, understanding that, and just the interest rate that comes with a credit card, the fine lines that we don't read. Some of us have cards, I'm guilty of it. I had a card, I didn't know that it was 29.99% as an interest rate. We're not told that information. And so, now we have Google and we have other means of gaining information. But, a lot of times what I realize is that the best information starts at home. So if we're able to inform, hey, this is how you do this, or hey, this is how you do that. A, you're hearing it from people that love you dearly. B, you might not apply it right then and there, because C, you're going to want to do things on your own. And D, you're going to want to hit your head a couple of times. And then you go back into the ABC of what they were telling you to begin with. You're like, oh, man, But I say all that to say it's just putting the seed out there, how to educate ourselves around, credit card debt, and I'll even throw this in here, payday loans. Payday loans are the worst thing that you can ever do. Did I say ever do? Years ago, I did it. I was in a place where, I'm going to be honest, I was prideful. I didn't want to ask anybody for help, so I went to one, and it was the worst thing ever, because you pay them like 5 times of what you borrow. And so, those things that we don't know. And when we're in desperate need, we go to these resources and not reading the red print, reading the bolded lines, reading the information, going straight to, let me sign, date, initial, give you a blood sample, hair sample, whatever, so I can get this money and relieve myself from my current situation, not thinking about futuristically, what can this possibly do to me? And so, goes back to what Tanisha said, just the mindset management really does matter. But the fact that, it goes back to having that community and tribe to be able to inform you of those things, that's a game changer as well. So, I like this. Important to examine what values about money we're raised with, how we are repeating the financial skills and mistakes of our parents, caretakers. My.
That's good, because we aren't, like you said, we aren't really taught money management,
right?
Like at all. We graduate high school, go straight into college, run right into the financial, the student loans and financial aid and all that type of stuff. And not really knowing, it's free money. We're in college, I need this money to live off of. So of course I'm going to sign up for every loan that you throw in my face. And, you still have to deal with it 10, 15, 20 years later.
Yeah.
But at the time we are not even aware. And just like you said, the credit cards are thrown at us. Like we are really fresh meat when it comes to, debt. And what people really have to realize is like all credit is debt. So it's just about how you manage your debt. If we were educated about how to utilize the credit cards, okay, if I use it, pay it off, don't go over the limit, don't max it out and leave it there, and that type of thing. We can let our debt work for us. But we are taught way too late in the game how to manage it, and it's like, okay, well, now I have to dig myself out of this hole because I didn't know back then. But
Right.
it's never too late to get your money right, get your money mind right.
Right.
So I signed up for Tiffany the Budgetnista. She has this program where she teaches you how to budget and how to, do debt and that type of thing. So you have to really be proactive and really try to teach yourself how to manage your money nowadays, because we can't always depend on, our parents taught us what they knew. And at some point, you have to really want to learn things for yourself in order to get further, because what they teach us can only take us so far. So we have to really teach ourselves, and then even teach them the things that we know that they didn't. But yeah, when you get out here, it's real, especially for college students. It's real. Like you said, the interest rates, you have to pay attention to those. So the store cards, it's just horrible. So I paid off a couple of mine already, which is good. I got rid of 2 and I have 1, and I haven't really spent anything on it. So I'm getting better with managing the credit cards, but we just have to really realize that we have to have credit, which means we have to have debt. It's just like we have to have the knowledge to make it work for us.
Yeah.
That's right. So,
Nope. Go ahead.
The one thing I also want to keep in mind is that, Bella's actually pretty right, teaching these children early the importance and the value of the mighty dollar. It does start from home, okay? But on top of that, our educational system is not meant to teach us either, okay? Because of course, you would think that, as you're 16, I would want to say even early on, because my mom tried to teach me early and I just wasn't interested then. It wasn't actually my mom who taught me. It was her best friend. So, she was like, no, count your money. I was like, yay, and I was
with that being said, hold on.
I know, Mom. I know, girl, TT. But thank you for watching too. But literally, like, she used to go in debt, like, and tell me, like, okay, this is how you use your money. Count it out. You're gonna pay the grocery clerk. Okay. So it's like things like that, just to kind of get it interactive, and you want to learn then.
Right.
But they never really went down into like what credit cards were.
Right.
And that was my big thing. Like, y'all should have taught this in high school.
Right.
I can understand not grammar school, but high school, like that last year of high school, as you're planning for your future, that's something that should be a prerequisite class. Like it's a mandatory class that you have to take. Okay. Even in college, they don't even teach anything about that. So it's like, really, where do you gain that information? So what can we do going forward? And make sure that, you're getting the education that you need. And if you are not able to, let's say example, I'm not fully equipped to explain what a credit card is and how it works and so on and so forth. But I have my friend here, who knows exactly what that means. So meaning you're going to sit down with her for an hour, and whatever questions you may have, we're going to have it together. We're going to do it all together. Okay. This is not by yourself, because just as much as I want you to learn, I need to learn. So let's learn together. Okay.
And
so
that's good. That part, because, and I'm going to back up. Don't be afraid to ask for help. For me, I was a little shameful after I got into it, and I was young. I think I was like 19 or 20. I had, no shame, I had 12 or 13 credit cards. Nobody told me. Nobody. I was like,
you went in with the credit card.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, yes. Because, I guess too, I felt, I wanted to, I didn't want to help go to my mom like every time I needed help, because she put me here, meaning she helped get me to school. So I thought it was my responsibility to kind of, do things on my own. And so I would feel super bad when I would have to call and say, hey, and they're like, we don't care. But, that whole, man, I'm on my own, I want to try to do this and I don't want to,
Mhm.
I want to learn these lessons. And what nobody tells you is you're going to learn lessons regardless.
The hard way, unfortunately.
You're going to learn them anyway. But I've always had that lifeline, but a lot of times I didn't want to take it because I felt like I'm the first in my family to go to school. I just want to, make myself proud, learn these lessons on my own, because everybody knows when you learn a lesson on your own, you tend to value it more too.
Mhm.
Then fell down, you didn't got back up. And so, I think this is a really amazing topic. Can't wait to see, what you're going to bring to us next month, because this is something that we need to be more educated on for real. And yes, YouTube's out there, but there's a lot of information. And sometimes with a lot of information, you can get overwhelmed because there's information and then you don't know where to put the application because you're learning so much information. So that balance of learning how to do that. So I'm excited about this segment, Liz. Thank you for your creativity and your due diligence of sharing what you're learning with us, because it is indeed important. So, not Liz, Isha. I'm looking at Liz, looking at Isha, looking at Liz, calling the wrong name. Um, do you have anything to add on that?
Like you said, there's a lot of information out there, but starting with the basics, which is a budget, and that's where, I've started, and people don't really know how to budget. So basically, what I've learned all a budget is your list of expenses. Um, Minus what you bring home. So what you bring home minus your list of expenses, and then what's left, that's what you save. So listing out everything that you spend money on: food, clothes, groceries, entertainment, hair, nails, whatever. Um, and then what you bring home for the month, subtract that. Whatever you have left is what you put away. But you have to calculate how much you spend per month on these things. And it sounds easy, but once you get into it, it's just like, okay, what do I actually spend money on? Or how much is this a month? Like, we don't even know. We just spend,
Yeah.
and don't really, take account for, what can I really afford this? Or should this be in the budget? Because, once we're done and we're out of pocket until the next time we get paid, and that should never be, we should never be broke in between,
Mhm.
your paychecks. So just really take a look at, what it is that you're spending money on. It'll really help you write those things down to really see them on paper. So I would say start there at least, because it's hard for people to save. And I know Liz was saying save, 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 but it's just like, okay, how can we save? I don't have any money left. I live paycheck to paycheck. Um, but yeah, that's just take account of your expenses, the things that you're spending money on, how much you bring in per month, and then it'll put in perspective, what it is that you can cut out, or what it is that you need to, add, and just what will you have left, if anything. And if not, just adjust it accordingly. But definitely we need to start to budget, and I think we should start there.
Amazing. So,
Amazing.
with
Mhm.
that being said, it is time to transition into our next segment, which I know is super exciting for a lot of our mommies out here that are homeschooling and also working from home these days, and looking to create that healthy balance within themselves first and also within their house. So, I'm excited to bring these women to the platform that are experts. And when I say experts, they're both mommies and they're both teachers. And so, they're walking this out daily right now with the many hats that they wear, but just being able to give that advice, that wisdom to even parents, of how they can be better, parents and now teachers to their children. So, Nyesha Silver and Tiffany Wilson, welcome, welcome, welcome. Yay.
Hi.
So,
Hi,
Nyesha,
guys.
go first and let us know who you are, just a tidbit about you. where you live. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, yes. First, very nice to see you guys. I'm so excited to be able to share with you just everything I've learned over the years. So, my name is Nyesha Sevier. I live currently in Katy, Texas, but I have lived in quite a few cities. I moved here about 5 years ago, about 4 years ago, from Tacoma, Seattle area. I also was born in Chicago, so when you were speaking of when you were speaking of Chicago, I was like, yeah, I know about that. I know exactly what she's talking about. I could relate to that in terms of the village that you were mentioning. So a lot of my youth was similar to that. But yeah, so I've been teaching for 12 years. I taught for 7 years in an underprivileged community in the Tacoma, Seattle area. And now I'm here in Katy, Texas, teaching in a completely opposite community than that. Um, but I love it. I love it. I see myself doing it for even longer. It's great. I am super excited to share with you guys, how, and all moms, how you can support your kids at home at this time and just continually. I have my own son as well. He's 2. And so his name is Harper. He's super vibrant and active right now. That's just kind of, how the toddler age is. And so it has been challenging to balance, teaching from home because teachers are still teaching, and also being at home all day with your children. So,
And I love it because if you guys follow her, Harper is first of all the most little handsome little dude ever, and he's so super smart. Like I just love watching him, and watching y'all interact is so cool. You would think he's been here before, literally.
Yeah, yeah.
So next we have Tiffany Wilson. So I got it. Well, let me back up. Nyesha and I went to school together.
We did.
Back in the day. I mean, so it's so cool to see her evolve and to see the mommy in her and the teacher. And it's so amazing that you can keep in touch with people, through social media, and just be able to always have those lifelong relationships no matter what. So segueing into that, Tiffany Wilson and I have been connected all the way since I think like 2001. So when I was in college, those work study jobs. So I literally worked for her as her teacher's aide in the preschool. And I was like, what am I doing? I was working around 3 and 4 year olds. And I was like, oh my God, because if anybody knows me, I'm an only child. And I'm like, kids? Yeah, about that. And so it was working with her. I actually opened my eyes and I love little kids now. And so just their innocence. And I learned that from just being her aide. So Tiffany, take us away. Who are you? Where are you from? All that stuff.
Well, Tiffany Wilson, it's nice to meet everybody. Good to see everybody this morning. I'm actually from Champaign, Illinois, but now we live outside of Baltimore, Maryland. Owings Mills, it's like right outside of the city. I've actually been teaching for about 24 years, early childhood. I like the little ones. I prefer the little ones. When Takara worked with me, it was at a lab school. So basically what it was we trained students to become teachers. And it was I really enjoyed working at the college because like Takara said, you learn so many things, even as she wasn't even studying early childhood, but she wanted a job. And I remember the first day she came in, I remember saying to her, all right, it's time to get to work. And she just looked at me and I said, kids are so free and so open. If you show them who you really are, they will love you. And so right now I work at a private Christian school, and I love it. I work with K4s. Yeah, they're a different bunch. When I first started, it was a lot easier. Now the K4s are like grown ups, so we have to, I mean, they're really great kids. I actually have a 8-year-old son. He goes to the school too, and we both started together. He started in kindergarten. He's actually in 3rd grade, getting ready to go on to 4th grade. And I love it. I love kids. I love just to see them thrive and to see the smiles on their face. Through this whole homeschooling thing, I've seen my son more. I have gotten to know him more on a school level. And I really realized that's why I don't teach 3rd grade.
I teach 3rd grade.
Yeah. Well, you can teach my son. So I'm just like, wow. And like, even in our little parent group at the school, I talked to some of the moms, and they've all been experiencing the same thing, and they aren't teachers. And they said, well, Miss Wilson, you should be able to and I have to always remember that, I didn't want to work with older kids, but now at this point in time, that's who I'm dealing with right now. Our little ones, we just get packets together for them, and just allow them to work gradually with their parents. It's not a lot of pressure because they're going into kindergarten. And so I spend more time now with my son. So, but it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Well, we're happy you guys are here. I mean, this is a hot topic right now because there's such a learning curve for moms because they're so used to their daily routines and saying, okay, I'm taking my child to school. They're going to learn from them. I don't have to teach them anything. So, that's a whole different ball game. So now the roles have been reversed. And so now it's like, okay, what do I do? What does that look like? And so that's why we brought you guys here. So, Nyesha, we'll start with you. So share something that you share with your parents. I know when we were talking last week, you were saying some of the parents that you talk to, they appreciate your wisdom that you're sharing with them because this is a new adjustment for them. So what would you say to some of these mommies that are out here who are saying, hey, am I even doing this right? Is this the way to go? Should I be going another way? What would you say?
Right. So I've taught kindergarten and 1st grade for most of my years of teaching. This is my 1st year teaching 3rd grade. So most of what you'll hear me talk about is tailored towards the younger kids. But I will say that what I think is most important that parents need to remember is that teachers are there for them right now in this time. And I will say that what I think has brought on a lot of stress, and this is just my opinion, is that parents have forgotten that we're here for them. Teachers are getting paid through their contract. They're still teaching right now. And so some of my parents, I've had to call multiple times and reach out to them and say, I'm here. Like, I'm still here. But because it's virtual, I think it feels like we're absent and we're not. And so the first thing I would encourage parents to do is lean to the district and the resources that they're providing because they're curriculum based and they're there for them. And also to communicate highly with the educator that's there to support you. Sometimes, teachers right now are dealing with a lot of families. I have 2 classes, so I have 40 plus students. And sometimes we need for the parents to reach out to us. So we're sending emails weekly, but when it comes to like specific questions or strategy that you need to see, we need to hear that from you, right? We need to know exactly what it is that you need guidance with. And I think that some parents are lost or frustrated because they're forgetting that we're here. And so my first thing would be to reach out and the district hold them accountable. hold the teacher accountable, because the resources are there. And a lot of times parents just don't know where they are, because there are phenomenal videos on our current district website. They've been there all year, guys, all year. And they're showing strategies, math strategies. They're showing reading comprehension strategies, and they're lessons being taught by actual teachers, but parents don't know that they're there. And so if they don't know where to go, if they're not guided, and then, they can, of course, find themselves kind of stuck and not knowing where to turn to. My other thing that I put here is to just give grace. I have this mom who sent me this long email, and I just responded to her and said, I'm calling you. So find your phone. We're just going to talk, because I could just see that she was so stressed. She was dealing with, she's a nurse and she's working with COVID patients, and she's having to work and then also balance these district expectations with her children at home. And she has 2 of them. And some of the things that was not considered when, different districts put out these expectations for students at home is that parents are working. So how are they going to be home with their children, helping them with those expectations? There's still kids that are, with their babysitter, or they're with their grandma, or they're with a neighbor. And so I would say, although those expectations are there, you set your own in your house. You set your own expectations, your own schedule, and you give grace to yourself and your kids. Meet them where they are. Okay. So even if you have a daily schedule that you set, because I have a daily schedule that I set for myself and for my son, but I also know how to pay attention to him and to see when he's not feeling that. He's not feeling that right now. So even if I have that on the schedule for 9 a.m., it's not happening. He just needs to sit and talk to me right now. He just needs for me to read. He needs to play. We need to go outside and have a walk, a bike ride. It's okay to say, we're not going to do this right now. We're going to be flexible and change the schedule. And so giving yourself grace and giving your kids grace is really important. One of you guys mentioned earlier communicating with them at this time. It's so important, talking and listening to them. And that's one of the deficits that I see as a teacher from my students who come into the classroom. I see a lot of social communication deficits because they're just working all the time. They're just in the books all the time. No one's talking to them. And you can see it. You can see it all over them when they come into the classroom, because they have trouble connecting with you and connecting with their peers, but yet they're good at reading and math, So it's super, super important to balance the work and to balance that communication with your kid, talking and listening to them, and spending time outdoors, being present with them, meeting them where they are in their day, and being flexible with the day.
Wow. I mean, geez.
That's a lot, I know.
Yeah, that is a lot, and one thing you said that stood out to me is that the mom who is a nurse, like, she's an essential worker, like she's in the midst of all this, and then having to come and the things we don't think about that are going on right now. We just see that, okay, there's a shift, and everyone's talking about pivoting, yes, but give me some principles, give me an outline, give me some guidance and something so I can do this thing, because this is unfamiliar, so this is good information, you guys. I'm really excited for you guys just to be here, because a lot of people need to hear this. This is something that Trump isn't talking about, okay? In his daily updates, he's talking about, hey, let's go deeper. Governors, they coming on the screen every day talking about the count and what you should do and blah, 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 but they're not addressing things like this. So where do people go? So this is amazing. That I'm so thankful that I have a team of women when we come together every Tuesday night and strategize what we're going to do for the next couple of weeks. We threw this out and we're able to provide this to you guys, because somebody needs this. A lot of
Mhm.
people need this because it's not being talked about. You don't see this in headline news. You don't see this in newspaper articles. You don't see this. And so, it's just being able to create these healthy, let's say that, healthy platforms where we can share this information. So thank you guys for your time, your energy in advance. So Tiff, what do you have for us?
Well, I was thinking, it's been, I'm not going to say how many days because we've been counting the days that we've been in quarantine. But I had to sit back down and refocus. And I had to I kind of had to chastise myself because, during teaching and in your class and, sometimes like for me, we are very, 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 like I have a very, very good rapport with all of the parents from day one. I'm here. I am your friend. I'm whatever you need. We are here. We are a family. We really focus on that. We let them know that we are a family and we're a team and we work together. And all through the year, the kids, they know we're family. If something goes wrong with somebody, we got to take care of them. We got to make sure our family is intact. We focus on that. And we allow the kids to be free. But what I had to do that second week is sit down and chastise myself because I said, you sometimes when you send things home to parents and you ask them to have it done by a certain time, you don't get that stuff from certain parents. And then you're like, what are they doing? Like, why can't they get their stuff done? So that second week when my son had this Spanish activity that was like 5 pages, and we're sitting at the table and I said, okay, let's get this done. He goes, Mom, I don't remember this stuff. I can't remember it. We're not in Spanish. You're not a Spanish teacher. And I thought about it and I said, you're right. So all those times where I was like, they need to get this done. The parents, they need to do this. They need to do that. I had to put it back into perspective. And I had to say, wait a minute. Even though I work at the school all day, when you come home, you still have things to do. You have to take care of your family. You have to cook dinner. I do those things. And I have my husband who helps me with my son with his homework. And then, we go back and forth with helping him. But my son's pretty self-sufficient. Takara knows he's very, very intelligent. And some of the things that he does, we're like, when did you learn this? Be like, oh, I know it. So we let him be free in his work, but then we watch him. But some of the stuff he did need that one-on-one. And I had to stop everything and help him and really realize that just because you think that you give that work to those parents, think about what they're going through at home. Put yourself in their shoes. Allow them, like Nyesha said, give them grace. Grace is the biggest thing. Allow them to come and say, hey, Mrs. Wilson, I can't do it. Or hey, I can't do it right now. I have so much on my plate. And I started to think about that. And I said, yeah, I need a schedule. I need to make sure that my son knows that this is the time where we sit and we have to focus. Yeah, we're on quarantine. And he thinks that this is like, okay, Mom, we can chill. We don't have to do nothing. We're on quarantine. And I'm like, no, just because of that, just because we're in quarantine doesn't mean that you stop your work. And and even with our kids, we've kept a really good rapport with them through quarantine, Google, connecting with them. About a month ago, we went and passed out homework to the kids, and they were so surprised because we had signs for them and gave them balloons to let them know that we're still here. We had a couple of kids that had birthdays during this time. And so we've been going out and meeting with the kids and having the families come, six, keeping our social distance, even though some of the kids are like, I can't, I need a hug. And every morning when the kids come in, they know I need a Miss Wilson hug. I'm a hugger. I'll pray for you. I'll do whatever you need to make sure that you're okay. So one of my little girls said, I can't. Miss Wilson, I have my mask on. I just need a hug. And, we hugged, and somebody was like, well, you're going to have to spray yourself off. I said, look, it's worth it to make sure that she's okay. And her mom even texted me after that, and she said, thank you so much. She really needed that. So putting yourself into the parents, like saying, okay, I get it, allowing them grace, but knowing that, it's gonna get done. It might be longer than what you expect, but it'll get done, and giving and letting them know that I am here. Whatever you need, I am here for you. If you need me to meet you somewhere and scream the activity out the window, I am here. Being open and not being so closed, but then opening your mind and I look at the parents in a little bit of a different way, even though I am a parent. But looking at my parents and our parents, I'm looking at them in a different light. Like, okay, I get it. This is a lot for some people. Some people can handle it. Some people are doing it and going through it okay. But a lot of people are struggling with this quarantine, with this lockdown, and with these parameters. And it's going to be a struggle, because who knows what school's going to be like in the fall, So there's a lot of things that we have to readjust our mind to and say, okay, we might have to go to school 2 days a week to let the other kids come. We have to really talk about this with our kids, and even your kids at home. Okay, what social distancing, you have to practice that. So we don't know what it's going to look like, but whatever it looks like, you have to adjust your mind to it. And that's with your kids, and just letting them know that you love them and I'm here for you. But I totally agree with Nyesha, being open and just saying, if you don't get it, I can help you. But, you do have those certain parents who are not as, so you got to handle them accordingly and just say, if they don't need my help, I'm not going to push on them. But some of them, you can just be like, come on, I'm here. So, but yeah, we have to really, really kind of readjust our minds right now, because who knows what it's going to look like. It's not going to be like it used to be. And that's what you tell your kids at home. But then when you start school, you're going to have to really, really be like, okay, this is what it is, because who knows?
Right. And it's definitely a struggle. I can say for myself, I know Takara and Liz don't really have to go through this right now, but I am homeschooling. My son's 9, he's in 3rd grade. So it was kind of a shock to the system. Like, we were on spring break and we were expecting to go back. And then it was just like, okay, it's indefinite now. So everybody had to adjust and readjust to different things, to what they had to transition to now online schooling. And the schools were not prepared for that. So every district, it looks different. Right. And then the kids had to get used to it, and the parents had to get used to how to operate and turn in assignments. And it's just like, we are all learning as we go, in a sense. And it's stressful. And the kids are definitely different at home than they are at school.
I emailed my son's teacher, and I told her, I said, I get it now. when he on his dojo, he's missing a point. And I'm like, why are you missing this? Well, I was talking, and I'm like, that's no big deal. You can talk in class. But now I'm like, I get it. I get what you're saying. And I just look at him and I'm like, dude, you better get yourself together, because it's not gonna get any, But I emailed her and she just laughed. We just chuckled. But I really get it now, because some parent, I saw something on Facebook and a parent was like, now I'm thinking I get what the teacher was saying about my son. I'm never gonna question it anymore. If he gets in trouble, I understand why. So it's so different. Like, I was like, man, I don't remember doing this in 3rd grade, and all the things that you have to do, but it is a shock to the system. It's like, You know, and I have been talking to my husband for a long time, like, we should homeschool. You know, let's be free and allow him to let's do homeschool.
Right.
And then last night we were talking, I said, I would never homeschool. Never, ever, ever, ever. This is no way. So it's a totally different ballpark.
You know, I read recently that we shouldn't even be calling this homeschooling. And the reason that it said this, this article that I read, was homeschooling is different because you're prepared for it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So you have the time to, access your curriculum, to study it, develop your schedule. That's not what happened here, right? So parents weren't prepared for it. There was no curriculum. The assignments weren't ready to go. And typically parents who homeschool are not working parents.
Yeah.
And so that's something to consider too. And so the article was just saying that we just need to stop saying homeschool altogether and just say that what this is, which is that we are in a crisis.
Yeah.
That's what this is. This is a crisis. And so we need to look at it as that, as this being something traumatic. And so it's super important for us to be almost protecting our kids' hearts at home instead of focusing so much on the learning. Something to consider is our children got most of their learning in the classroom, right, this year. And so what I was trying to communicate to my parents is they're okay.
Yeah.
They're okay.
Yeah.
And they're going to be okay. Let's say if you decide that they're just going to read, we're just going to read and just do science experiments. That's it, right? They're going to be okay. We're just going to do just math. They're going to be okay, because the foundation has been laid. It's there. And so a lot of what I've seen come from parents is a state of panic.
Mm-hmm.
They're responding to trauma, and that's pouring over into, how they communicate with the teacher and how they respond to that online learning platform that has, gone up in several different districts. And so I think we just need to remember that we're in a different situation here. And this is not your typical homeschooling. And then, I was also thinking about how important it is to just remember to be connected with your kids right now. You were mentioning how, oh my gosh, like, I didn't know you act like that in class. I totally get it now. So that's the beauty of this. That's the blessing in this, is that we're getting to know our kids. We're getting to truly have time with our kids and know them for who they really, really are. And I've enjoyed that with my son. Like, I'm not going to lie, y'all, it's hard. I'm in a closet right now. I'm in a closet to be able to do this with you guys. So something that I think that teachers need to keep in mind, districts need to keep in mind, is that all households look different. I'm a single mother. I'm a single mom. I don't have someone to say, hey, can you sit down and, do this homework with him right now? I don't have that present in my household right now. So we just have to keep in mind that some kids are with two parents. Some kids are with one. Some kids are with a babysitter. They're with a grandmother.
Yeah.
They are surviving right now. And things are extremely, extremely different for them. They're not only having to adjust to the learning now being virtual, but they're also having to adjust to their household could possibly look different for them, right? And then they also don't have possibly as much support at home as their neighbor with two parents to support, or one parent that's able to stay home and another parent that's going to work. So it's just something to consider. There's so many pieces involved in this that I think sometimes we don't really remember. So that's why I just keep telling my families to come back to what matters, to keep reminding yourself what matters. Family. Our district actually recently decided to just do community circles. So what we're doing is we're recording lessons, live lessons, and we're posting them weekly for our students. But we're also doing Zoom. And originally they had us using Zoom for like live teaching, and teachers were like, oh my gosh, like this is, and it was one-on-one, guys. It was one-on-one. So imagine doing this type of teaching with that many students weekly, guys, weekly. So the teachers were so overwhelmed because we were doing one-on-one teaching and we were posting lessons weekly. And so the district listened and they said, okay, there was parents complaining, families complaining, teachers saying this is too much. And so the district said, you know what, we're just going to focus our Zoom on community building. And I'm so glad they decided to do that, because that's what our community needs right now, right? We need to be meeting with these kids and saying, you're okay, I'm okay, we're all going to be okay. And no matter what you're struggling with at home, everything's gonna be fine, and we're gonna get through this, and you're gonna adjust, and it's gonna get easier, it's gonna get better. That's what they need to hear more of right now, not us teaching them all day, lecturing them all day, and getting on them about what they're not getting done. It's not healthy.
And I also find that our families, the parents, you through this whole thing, you do have your certain people that are upset because their kids are at home, but we have a big community, and our parents are very, 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 they've been very open. We do have our few that have complained, but you do see, like, through our little Facebook, how kids are enjoying themselves, enjoying themselves at home. And I think this is bringing their families closer together, because before this, we were going and coming and going, just moving fast, getting what we need, getting it done. But now we've had to be at a standstill, and we're more focused on everything that we're doing, because we're at home, we're teaching our kids at home. You can't go anywhere, so you're at home. And that gives you more time with your family. I think that is like family bonding. I know a lot in my household, we've bonded. We do a lot of things together on Saturday. We do a Saturday activity, and we've been asking our son once a week, like, how are you mentally? Like, what's affecting you during this quarantine? And he's very, very open to everything, and he'll say, this week I feel like, I'm a little bit down, because I want to be with my friends. I want to do this, but I feel I can't do it because we're stuck, and he doesn't really say stuck, because I think he enjoys it more. He's enjoying it because he's really comfortable, in our house. But I see our relationship as a family bonding more, like us bonding and coming together, So, I'm not like happy that this has happened, but I think we have to make the best of what we're in, because it's a situation that we have no control over. So instead of us harping and being upset, let's make the best of what we have. And a couple of weeks ago, we did like a painting party. This week we're gonna do our handprints and make a handprint, and then write on the back how we feel about this quarantine and what we're gonna do when we come out, just to keep them busy. I think that is really important. A lot of parents are on that schedule, Monday through Friday, and then Saturday we're just chilling. But you have to remember that, when you were in school Monday through Friday, but then Saturday you did something. So keep a little bit of that momentum. Structure has changed, but still keep some of those little bitty parts in to make the kids know that it's not this big of a devastation.
Right.
So I think that's important with little ones, with kids, to let them know that you are okay, I'm okay. It's not a really good situation that we're in, but guess what? When we come out, we're just gonna have so much fun. But we can have so much fun while we're in the situation, allowing them to be kids and allowing them to know that, it's nobody's, this happened. Well, it happened.
Right.
it happened, and we're gonna get through it, and we'll, and trusting in God, especially, my son, we go to a Christian school, so every day we have a Bible lesson, and every day I'm like, Lord, I thank you. Thank you for, this Bible. I need this. I need this Bible lesson. But just even for us to know that it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Because, and you're right, Nyesha, some parents are so, we have a little thread, and we talk to one parent daily, and she is like, I am losing it. Today, I don't know if I'm going to make it. And then I have to bring her down. Let's pray.
Yeah.
Let's pray. And remember that it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And then she'll say, who wants to come pick up these kids?
Yeah.
I'm like,
because being a parent of multiple is difficult.
Other ones, but reassuring her that it's good. You're gonna be good. So I mean, it's a daily process to keep them, but then also yourself. Like you said, you're in your closet, so you're trying. It's not easy to multitask, but you can be a pro at it. You can look like you're doing it a good, but it's stressful. But you have to keep your head on for them because you took on that task. You took on that task to work with kids, to teach kids, to guide them, to show them the way, to educate them, to love them, to let them know that they are somebody. And just yesterday, the little boy, it was his birthday, and his parents, they really didn't want a lot of people around. So it was just me and a co-teacher, and just the look on his face when he came out, he was just like, and I had given him Legos, some Legos. And Christmas, we give them Christmas gifts. Like we go pick out gifts for them, what we think they would like, because we get to know them, and then we say, oh, he would like this, he would like that. Well, Christmas, he didn't like his Christmas gift, and he said he didn't want it. He said, I don't want this. And so we had a big talk about being grateful and being thankful. But yesterday, when I gave him the gift, he could not stop looking at it, and he kept saying, Miss Wilson, thank you so much. So much. And I wanted to bring it back up. I wanted to say, see how being great, look at that. But it shows you that growth. Even though we're not with them, we haven't been with them for 2 months, look at his growth. And I said to her, when we got in the car, she got in her car and I got in my car, and we were talking, I said, look how much he's grown. Remember Christmas? She said, girl, I could not. I mean, he just was like, I'm so thankful. Thank you. I'm so grateful. So you do see their growth. Even though you're not with them, just communicating and keeping those lines open, they are growing. And like you said, Nyesha, if there was an issue, they would have known, the parents would have known before March, that
most definitely
something is going on. So they would have known. So I understand they are still concerned, but if there were issues, you would have definitely communicated that with the parents and let them know, hey, we're having some problems. But so you're right. They have learned everything. They've learned what they needed to learn for that time. There's so much more that they will be learning. But I'm just grateful that I can at least have the time to sit with my son, get to know him a little bit more, know the perks, and know okay, we got to work on this. But I'm also grateful that my husband and I communicate in that way where he knows when I'm getting to the point where I'm like, and he'll be like, okay, all right, Aunt, come on, let me help you. He knows what I can do and I know what he can do. But it's a part of just bonding. And I pray that our parents will see that and realize that the situation is, but I'm bonding more with my little one. I'm seeing him grow up right before my eyes. That's important to me. That's what I want to see and want to hear when we come back to school. Like, I really got to spend a lot of time with my parents, my mom and my dad, or my grandma, like you said, or my aunt who lives with me, and she helps me. So I think it's a lot of bonding time with family.
Yeah. You brought up a good point. You said that you guys are going to do like an art project of some
Mhm.
sort, right? So I think what a lot of parents are struggling with now that they're having to do the online learning at home is, how do I keep my child engaged? Because let's be honest, most of the time they don't want to do it, right? Some kids are excited to learn, like that's just natural for them. And then some students, it's like, I don't really want to do that. They prefer to read over,
Mhm.
during their mathematics, or prefer, just to do something different altogether. What I want to suggest to parents is you have to provide them with variety.
Yes.
It can't always, the structure is important, but what they're actually working on, you have to provide some variety and you have to make it fun. So my parents always want to know, they say, notice guys, I say my parents and my kids, like
Mhm.
that's how close you become with your family of students and parents. But they always ask me, what workbook should I order, Miss Sevier? What workbook? And you shouldn't get a workbook. Like, you shouldn't get a workbook.
Mhm.
Take out some paint, take out some manipulatives, like work with them hands on. And I say this even for myself as a mother. I have to remind myself, no, don't just sit him in a corner. I think one of you guys said, parents are like, okay, here goes your work. Go ahead and get to work.
Mhm.
And then they're gone. And unfortunately, what happens is that it makes learning not so fun.
No.
It's not fun. And then parents are wondering, oh, why don't they want to, sit here and do this work? Well, because you're not interested in it, and so they're
Mhm.
not interested in it. And
Right.
Yeah.
so we have to realize that our kids are models of us. Okay. For example, I love to read. I love to research. My kid notices this. So he's always like, book, mommy, book, right now, book,
No,
because he
wow.
sees my love for this. And so I told myself, if I want for my child to be interested in art, if I want for him to be interested in reading, if I want for him to be interested in science, I have to show an interest in these things.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's pretty much how that works. If you want for them to be engaged in what they're doing, you have to be engaged in it too.
And you have to keep a smile on your face,
Yeah.
even through, you really have to put that. Let's because I like what you said, Nyesha. I say to my son, it's time. Okay, it's time to get to work. Then I get this, and then it'll come to the table, and then I have to go through my spiel. Okay, blah 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 blah. But I don't, and I asked him, I said, I know you don't do this at school. And he said, no, because I have a desk and I have, my friends around me. I have all of this stuff that I don't have anymore. And I get it. So next week, we're going to have to do a little bit of a different strategy of him coming to do your work. Like, hey, let's do a coloring activity, or let's play in some Play-Doh. I bought Play-Doh. Let's play in the Play-Doh first before we get to work.
Yes.
Get them prepared. I think preparation is way, way, way important. And we started at the beginning, said nobody was prepared for this. Nobody was prepared. And so now this week I've seen every day of his demeanor. And so next week, I don't want to see that. So I need to do something a little bit different. And I need to approach it a little bit different because he comes with an attitude, then I get an attitude. And then we're doing attitude work. We're not doing the best of we're not at our best of doing our best. So I am going to restructure some things. We have like 2 more weeks. I didn't tell him that, but we have 2 more weeks and then we'll be done. And that's kind of sad because we'll be done. Well, in the summer, we don't know what's gonna be going on. So they don't get to see their friends, their lockers. When are we gonna clean out their lockers? How are we gonna do that? I mean,
wow. Yeah.
That's gonna be one thing that I'm gonna have to think about how to approach with him. Approach with our parents. We have to give them their clothes and all of their extra stuff. And, it's like, we didn't have that end of the year celebration.
Right.
We didn't get to do that. So I get him saying, well, Mom, I mean, I don't have my friends. But the good thing about it is that we do have social media. We do have access to one another. So you can do that virtual stuff with your friends. My son and one of his really close friends, they FaceTime all the time. And I asked him the other night, did he miss him? He goes, Mom, I FaceTime him once a week. And I'm like, okay, well, he's getting it. He's getting, like, okay, this is what we have to do. So.
Right. And that's huge. And so moving forward, we have this question that I'm not sure whose Bella's page is, but
that's my mom.
That's your mom. Hi, Mom.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Mama.
So, this is a really amazing question. And then we're almost out of time for today. Actually, we're over time. How are you guys
good? Doing? It's been that good, right?
It has been. I know. It's been really good. It's amazing that when you can come together and really, help people in this capacity, and everyone's like, hey, I need this. So I'm glad that we have this platform. And so how are you guys doing mentally juggling teacher and motherhood?
You know what? I'm going to be honest. Day by day. Okay. I can have one day where I'm just like, oh man, I killed it. Like I killed the day. I followed my schedule. My son is happy. I know he's happy. I kept him from, being, too bored, kept him interested, engaged. And I felt like I didn't overdo it for myself. But then there's days where I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like, oh my gosh, like, who are you right now? Like, who are you? You're better than this. Like, you know what I mean?
So,
that's what I mean by give yourself grace. So those days I'm like, you know what? It's okay. It's okay, Nyesha. It's not about perfection. And that's what I have to keep telling myself is that's not what this motherhood is. That's not what life is, okay? It's not about perfection. It's about getting up every day and continuing to try. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For me, it's been no day is going to be like the next day. So one day, like you, I've been having those days where I'm just like, I'm a hot mess. I would be in my sweatpants and t-shirts, and that's it. That's what you're going to get. And then I'll have those days where I'm like, I get to go to Walmart, like, hey, stand in the line. And I mean, just mentally, I just have to stay prayed up, continually asking God to give me more strength, give me strength like never before. Like, Lord, allow me to get up before 10. If if I get up before 10, I'm good. But, like I always say, I'm going to get up at 8:30. We're going to start work at 9. And then my son's like, he'll tell me, he'll be like, we're locked down. We're in the do you know what that means? I'm like, okay, 8-year-old, but he'll say it. He'll be like, hey, and just 3 days ago, we just got our school canceled for the rest of the year. So, I was saying to him, we might go back after the 15th. But when, I didn't even tell him, I kind of told my husband, but he heard it. He goes, we don't have any more school, Mom. We could just chill. I'm like, no, you have to stay focused. But I have my days where I'm just like mentally drained. But then I have my days where I'm grateful for what I have because it could be worse. And I always remember that because so many people are losing their lives. So many people have lost their jobs, and you wouldn't want to put yourself in there, so be grateful for what you have.
That's good. That's important.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been an amazing segment.
Mhm.
I'm enjoying this, and I'm not even a mommy, but it gives me the perspective of what's really going on in the home for a lot of these moms. And I go back to what you said, Nyesha, for the mom that's a nurse. You know, that just being a nurse during these times, that alone is quite the interesting walk. And so you say mommy attached to it and the responsibilities that come with that. I couldn't even imagine, you
It's
know.
heavy.
You have a greater appreciation.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I'm trying not to cry, but like I can just imagine like what that's like. You go and you're seeing all this stuff. And
Yeah, and guys, her situation, she was pulled. She's not able to be with her kids right now
Yeah.
because she doesn't want to, of course, get them sick. And so she's staying in a hotel to be able to work right now while her kids are at home
A
with
lot of
grandma,
them are.
who is not tech savvy. So it's a lot going on.
A lot of them are, and that's the situation where, you know, we are blessed to not have to do that. But a lot of nurses are leaving their kids with others because they don't want them to get sick. So
this has been powerful. I mean, so after the show is over, if you guys can leave, if you feel led to, leave your information on how, you know, people can maybe get in contact with you, some extra nuggets
of course.
that they can, you know, get, because I think Isha said it too, you know, a lot of schools weren't prepared for this at all whatsoever. So it was like a crash course on how to even create these the curriculum, not even that, but what platform to go with, you know, how are we going to get this information out, you know, what is this going to look like for us, you know. So it was quite the load. And from what it looks like, I know in Chicago they're saying that kids won't go back to school maybe until January. That's what they're saying right now.
Wow.
So, you know, that's a huge deal. And then you think about, you know, the summer. What is this going to look like?
There's not going to be any summer camps.
Yeah, you know, thinking about, you know, there's no good, you know, community pool. There's no, you know, Bible school options.
None of that.
So, you know, it's interesting times that we're living in, because I feel that I will not say that this is the worst of times, because I don't believe that in my heart of hearts. I don't believe that. I just think it's an interesting time, and it's a time to pivot. It's a time to be creative. It's a time of reuniting. It's a time of resetting the button. It's a time to really, you know, tap into who you are and whose you are, to be able to make these times work for the best of you, not just you, but also those around you. So this has been amazing. I'm full. I'm super, super full. And I know Isha and Elizabeth are like, wow, you know, just moms do so much, period. But this is a whole nother that no one could have predicted. No one could have, you know, prepared moms for. So, you know, this is interesting. And, you know, if we can create some type of, you know, network for these moms during this time, you know, that would be something amazing, because like I said, you know, they're not teachers, you know, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to do, you know, this isn't what they went to school for. And they're not, you know, trying to, you know, go back to school to learn how, you know. So being a resources, there's resources that we can provide for these mommies. And so, you know, single, you know, I think I guess for me, I go back to thinking about the low income housing children and moms, and how they're surviving during these times. And, you know, I have a school right around the corner from me, and I went to the post office the other day, and I'm anybody knows me, I'm emotionally moved, period. I literally started crying when I saw the long line just to pick up lunch.
Yeah.
It was to the point where it was backing up traffic, because it was just such a long line just for meals to be distributed. I'm like, wow, you know, I just think about, you know, we don't put much value into what school brings for people as a whole. We think of it as just an educational place, but it's so much bigger than that. You know, I'm thinking about these kids who their only meal that they get is at school.
Yeah.
You know, so You know, what are they what are they surviving? Like, what's going on with them? And then you take it another notch for those that live, you know, might not have the greatest living conditions. You know, how are they really, even mentally, being able to deal with all this? So it's a lot moving. And, you know, I just think about, you know, a stimulus check. Okay, $1,200. That went the same day it came. You know,
No.
but you know, just we need tangible resources that are going to bring an impact to what's going on in these times. And so community forums like this platform, I'm so thankful for it, to be able to come together as one and be able to share these things. You know, no matter if you're a mommy and you're not a teacher, you know, and the fact that you guys are teachers and mommies, you know, this is a lot. You know, this is a lot of great information to really sit with and think about, okay, what can I do as an individual to help people during this time, because it's so needed.
Yeah.
It's true.
So, with that being said, Liz, Isha, do you guys have any closing words?
Nah. I mean, honestly, everything was summed up in a nutshell. You ladies are phenomenal women.
Yeah.
Okay. Just children just need to be fed. The energy that you're giving them is exactly what they need. So if we can just continue doing that, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like a classroom type experience anymore. But if you're just cooking with them, they learn. There's mathematics in cooking. If you bake something, or if you're just, you know, outside in the garden, or picking up leaves, or for areas that have to do that. Not every state is like that. Or, you know, just finding things outside that you can really, you know, how about go outside and connect more with the earth?
Yeah.
You know, so it really just taking that energy and redirecting it, because right now it's all in, and it's not meant to be in. We need to get it out, and we need to live it out in some way. And if they're frustrated, let them beat up a blow up device, what the boxing things that they do. You know, it's not a negative. What is negative, take that and translate it into a positive. Let's get it out. Because it, you know, if talking's not something that's going to work, let's physically get it out. So
that's good.
What you ladies said.
Amazing. Well, this has been an amazing show. I'm full. I'm sitting here just really like, you know, when we came up with this topic, I wasn't expecting all this. You know, so this was rich. And I know for me, I'm going to be sharing this as a watch party all week, because somebody missed it and they need it. And they just didn't know that, you know, about this show and what we do. And so, you know, it's just empowering to be able to have something like this. So we're really thankful for your time. And everybody, you know, tune in next week. We're really excited about next week. So what we're doing, we're bringing women from different generations in to have like a town forum type of discussion on the power of communication through the generations. So, yeah, you know, we don't do that. You know, we don't go to our elders anymore for that.
That's great.
Knowledge that we need, especially as women, especially now, you know, during these times, you know, some things that we're not taught, or we're taught them and we don't want to be taught them, but hearing it from the wisdom of an elder, you know, it brings a different perspective. I like that. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.